Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics, and guess what everyone? The footy is back. It's back! I can't wait for it all to begin this week. The NRL 2023 season is finally here, and we've got 27 rounds and a new team in the competition, 17th team in the Dolphins. I can't wait for it. I really can't wait. And I'm excited. I'm pumped. I am looking forward to this week's games. I just can't wait for it. But this is the first NRL tipping video of 2023. Let's get into it. So, starting off on Thursday, the 2nd of March, is the opening game of the season. Parramatta Eels, the grand finalists from last year, taking on the Melbourne Storm at CommBank Stadium in Sydney. This game kicks off at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, Queensland time, which is 8 p.m. New South Wales time, 10 p.m. New Zealand time. It's on Channel 9 in Australia and KO and Foxtel and Sky Sports in New Zealand. Now, the Parramatta Eels come into this year with not too many changes. Yes, they've lost Reed Mahoney, which is a big blow in that hooker's spot. No Papali as well, who's gone to the Tigers. And, look, I think for me, still Parramatta, despite those players that they've let go, this year for me is still an opportunity for Parramatta to still try and push for a premiership. And I've still got them contending. I reckon they'll still be a finals team this year. Now, as for the Melbourne Storm, a team which is known for many years to be a dominant figure in the NRL. But last year, they missed the top four for the very first time in a long time. They finished in 5th. Now, 5th is not bad. It's still not bad. But for Storm's standards that they set for many years, that probably for them is considered a failure in itself. Even Melbourne, last year, to be knocked out in the first week of the finals is something you don't usually see. And it being at home as well. You don't usually see Melbourne go out in the first week of finals and lose at home in a finals match. But Canberra Raiders, are a team that can do that. So, look, last year I think Melbourne, a couple of injuries really affected their squad. Ryan Papenhuyzen, we know he's got a bit of an injury history, unfortunately. Again, he's going to be missing this game in the next couple of weeks, so we don't know when Ryan Papenhuyzen will be back. But when he's back, he's a crucial player. He's a key player for the Storm side. Nick Meaney's a good player. He's a handy replacement, but he's no Ryan Papenhuyzen at the end of the day. So, look, the Storm still have some very good players. They've got Munster, and Cameron Munster is the key player for me for the Storm in this game and this year as a whole. And also you've got Jerome Hughes as well. Now, those two combine very well. They combine outstandingly on the field. You've also got a William Warbrick as well, a former New Zealand Rugby Sevens player who's now playing for the Storm. Very strong in that trial against the Warriors as well, and a talented player, a very talented player in my personal opinion. I think he's going to be a player to watch out for the Storm this season. So, look, you can never write off a Craig Bellamy coach side. Craig Bellamy, I think this will be his last year coaching the Storm. I don't think he's going to go around for the next couple of years. I think this could be his last hurrah for the Melbourne Storm side this year in terms of coaching. It's going to be interesting to see how, what happens when he leaves the helm and someone takes over. What happens with the Storm side? Will they still be up there? Or will they take time to rebuild and get back to where they once were? But, look, I've got the Storm contending this year for finals, top four possibly, and maybe a premiership. But I will say this, they are going to miss the Bromwich brothers. They are going to miss Brandon Smith, who's gone to the City Roosters. Look, for me, in terms of this game, Melbourne record against the Parramatta Eels in previous years has been outstanding. Parramatta have struggled to get a result over them, but last year showed Parramatta weren't afraid against the Storm side. They beat them twice, I believe, in the regular season. This year, there's a chance Parramatta could do it again. Could they do it 3 times in a row against the Storm? Round 1 record, Melbourne have been outstanding for many years under Craig Bellamy. They just don't lose round 1 encounters. So could the run finally be over? Could it be finally over? Could the Storm's run in round 1 fixtures against any opposition be over? I do give Parramatta Eels a massive chance here in this game. Now, prediction-wise, who am I going to go with? Look, you could say going into this game, Parramatta are favourites because they made the grand final last year. Melbourne no Brian Papenhuyzen. But when I saw the lineups, Melbourne have still named a very strong side. For me, the key is obviously Clinton Gutherson for the Eels, Moses, Brown, and how they go. So those are the keys for the Parramatta Eels in this game. Those are the key players. So for me, I'm just going to get a prediction out of the way here, and I'm going to say Storm. Yep, I'm going to go with the Storm and Sydney to win this game. I can easily see Parramatta winning this one, but I'm going to go Melbourne by 8. I think they will continue that round 1 record, and they will keep that intact. Storm by 8 for me. Try scorers: Will Warbrick, Marcus Sevo, and Xavier Coates. Mitchell Moses as well to score a try in this game. On to the Friday games now. There's 2 games on the Friday, but the first game on the Friday night is the Newcastle Knights and the New Zealand Warriors. That is in Wellington. I will be doing a separate preview video and predictions for that game, so make sure you keep an eye out for that video. That'll be up on the channel on Wednesday. Now to the second game now. The Penrith Panthers, the back-to-back premiers, taking on the Brisbane Broncos at Blue Bet Stadium in Penrith. Kicks off 7:05 p.m. Queensland time, 8:05 p.m. New South Wales time, 10:05 p.m. New Zealand time. It's on Channel 9, Foxtel and KO in Australia, and Sky Sports in New Zealand. Now the Panthers come into this year with a big target on their back, no doubt about it. A lot of teams will be trying to beat this Penrith Panthers side. They've tried the first 2 years and they've not been able to do it. So can Panthers make a bit of history and do the three-peat this year? That is going to be interesting to see whether they can do that. But look, I reckon they will be up there again this year. They will be contending for the premiership and the minor premiership as well. As for the Broncos, last year probably should have made the top 8 in my personal opinion. They didn't. They had a bad run of form at the back end of the year, conceding a lot of points, and unfortunately for them, didn't do enough to get into the top 8. But this year is completely different for this Broncos side. They've made some great signings in the off-season. They've got pretty much the same roster also as last year, still the same players. Reece Walsh is unfortunately not playing in this game. He is injured, so they've got Selwyn Cobbo there at the back. Selwyn Cobbo is not a bad player to put at the fullback spot. And look, I think Selwyn Cobbo is a player to watch out for in this encounter. Now, the Panthers themselves, obviously losing that World Club Challenge match to Super League champions in St. Helens. A lot of people thought Penrith were going to win that comfortably, and they went down to a very determined St. Helens side at home, actually. And Penrith don't often lose at home, and they'll be very determined. Despite that not being an NRL match, they'll be determined to get back to winning ways and win at their home ground here against this Brisbane Broncos side. So, look, for me, I can see Brisbane being very competitive at the start, probably the first 20 minutes. But I think Brisbane will not have enough. I don't think they'll have enough in the second half to, get an upset result over this Panthers side. I think Panthers will be too strong, and I think they'll, want to put that result behind them in the World Club Challenge. So I am going to go Panthers to win this game by 16 points. Try scorers anytime. Selwyn Cobbo at fullback there. Corey Oates there on the wing. Moses Leota in the forwards. And I'm going to go fullback Dylan Edwards on return, and he is a massive in as well for the Panthers. He makes a big difference at the back. And look, I'm interested to see how much Kenny goes in that hooker spot also. Panthers to win for me. On to Saturday games now. So there's 3 games. Super Saturday is back. It's a triple header. First game is early on in the afternoon. Sees the Manly Ringa Seagulls taking on Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at 4 Pines Park in Sydney. Manly, new coach in Anthony Seibold. He's back coaching in the NRL after stints in English rugby, and also, he had a stint with the Brisbane Broncos and the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and he's back in the NRL coaching this Manly Seagulls side. As for the Bulldogs, rookie coach in Cameron Serrato comes from the Panthers to take on this responsibility of a head coaching job, which, look, this is going to be really interesting between these two sides. And the Bulldogs, there's been a lot of hype in the off-season in terms of the signings they've made. Viliami Kikau, Reed Marnie, they've got Matt Burton. They've got a strong side. They've got abundance of talent. They've signed abundance of good players in the side. So it is going to be interesting to see how this Bulldogs side goes this year. And also interesting to see how Manly go, because it is a bit of an unknown how they're going to go this year. But great news for them. Massive boost. Tommy Trbojevic. That's right. The Turbo is back in the side, and he is looking to give this team a big shot of confidence going into this year and the season as a whole. So, look, for me, I found this game very difficult to tip. Are the Bulldogs going to live up to the hype in the off-season? Are they going to get an opening win? Or will the Seagulls start a new reign under Seibold with victory? We saw the Seagulls in the pre-season trials. Yes, it was only the pre-season, but they were very good, actually, in those pre-season trials. So, can the Seagulls also take that form into this round 1 encounter? Now, in terms of a prediction for this one, look, I am going to go with the Manly Seagulls to win this game. Manly Seagulls to win this game by 4 points in a very close, tight encounter. In terms of try scorers, anytime, Tommy Turbo, Ruben Garrick, Hamoli Olokuatu in the forwards there. And for the Bulldogs, I'm going to go with Josh Adokar on the wing and Jacob Carraz. On to the second game now. On Saturday, sees the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Canberra Raiders at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. This game kicks off 4:30pm Queensland time, 5:30pm New South Wales time, 8:30pm New Zealand time. Now, the North Queensland Cowboys last year shocked many people, including myself, a lot of the experts, making a preliminary final last year, finishing inside the top 4. First time in a long time we got to see the Cowboys inside that top 4. And Todd Payten got Coach of the Year last year, really turned the team around from the previous year where they really struggled. Tamalolo had a good year. Scott Drinkwater had a breakout season. Dearden was outstanding. Got selected for the Maroons. Murray Talangi was great. They shocked many people, and good on them. Good on them for doing that. And although they did go down to the Parramatta Eels in the preliminary finals, I thought it was a great season for the Cowboys. And I think this year, look, there's no reason why they can't be contending for the finals and a top 4 spot and probably a premiership in itself. So I think the premiership window is still open there for the Cowboys. And Todd Payten as well, who's just recently re-signed as coach for the next couple of seasons as well. So it's a massive boost for the Cowboys going forward. Now, the Canberra Raiders last year, speaking of them, a team which were near the bottom half of the ladder at the start of the year, but had strong form at the back end of the year to make the finals, and then upset the Melbourne Storm in week 1 of the finals. So the Canberra Raiders are a team that can do that. They're a team that can have a slow start and potentially be a team that could upset a team on their day. So, look, in terms of this game, it's in Townsville. You'd think it's going to be very hot up there in that heat. How the Raiders will cope with those conditions, I'm not too sure. But look, for me, in terms of this game, I am going to go with the Cowboys, but I'm not tipping 13 plus. I'm actually going to go with the Cowboys by 6. I think the Raiders are a team with their 4-pack. Look, I think what I've seen of this 4-pack and what they've named this in this game, I think it's a very strong 4-pack. And I think they can contend with the Cowboys in that area. So, look, I am going to go with anytime try scorers of Tom Dearden, Murray Talangi. For the Raiders, I'm going to go with Nick Kotrick, Jack Whiten in the halves there. Hudson Young in the second row, actually, I reckon he'll score a try. And Elliot Whitehead. So, for me, Cowboys by 6. On to the final game now to wrap up the Saturday action of footy. Sees Cronulla Sutherland Sharks taking on South Sydney Rabbitohs at PointsBet Stadium in Sydney. Kicks off 6:35pm Queensland time, 7:35pm New South Wales time, 10:35pm New Zealand time. Now, both the Cronulla Sharks and South Sydney Rabbitohs had a great season last year. Sharks finishing in the top 2, finishing second, and Craig Fitzgibbon's first year as a coach in the NRL was a very good one, despite going down in the finals. For the South Sydney Rabbitohs, Jason Dimitri's also first year as a head coach last year, and the Rabbitohs did very well to get to a preliminary final, another preliminary final, but unfortunately for them, obviously going down against the Panthers in the preliminary finals here. So they'll be looking to go one better and make the grand final this season. Now, I've got massive hype on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Actually, I'm very excited to see what they do this year. I reckon they'll be top 4 again this season. Potentially they could go higher than top 4. So, look, Cameron Murray, they've got Elias, they've got Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, who's looking to have a big year. And they've got a strong team on paper as well. The biggest loss for the Sharks going into this game, that's right, unfortunate news, Nicholas Hines, the 2022 Dally M medalist from last year, is out for this game. So it is a big blow for the Sharks. You know, if he's not fully fit, you know, you wouldn't risk him, would you? You know, you've got a whole season, you've got 27 rounds. So, look, it's understandable that they don't play him in this one if he's not fully fit. So, the Sharks this week in the halves have got Braden Trindle and Matt Moylan. That's going to be an interesting combination going into this game. Look, I think Matty Moylan's going to take a lot of the leadership, I think, in the halves. I think he will take a lot of the reins in terms of their attack. Matty Moylan, I thought last year had a very good year, actually. I think he was very good for the Sharks in 2022. So, look, in terms of prediction for this game, I am going to tip the Rabbitohs to win this one. I probably would have tipped the Sharks if Nicholas Hines was playing, but I still personally think the Rabbitohs will get up. Now, I'm going to go with Rabbitohs to win this game by 12 points. Anytime try scorers, Alex Johnston, last year was outstanding. I reckon he'll start the season off with a try. Campbell Graham, Cody Walker, Sione Katoa for the Sharks, Ronaldo Mulitalo, and Britain Niokora. On to the Sunday games now. Sunday the 5th of March sees the Dolphins taking on the Sydney Roosters at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. Kicks off 3:05pm Queensland time, 4:05pm New South Wales time, 7:05pm New Zealand time. It's on Channel 9 here in Australia, so that'll be Sky Sports in New Zealand, and also Foxtel and Kayo is showing the game. Now, the Dolphins come into this one as an unknown side in 2023. Wayne Bennett, they've got the master in Wayne Bennett coaching them. You never write off a coach in Wayne Bennett. But it's going to be a bit of a tall order going into this one, taking on a very fancy team. A team that a lot of people are predicting to be contenders for the premiership this year. The Sydney Roosters. And look, they deserve to be in the talks for premiership talks this year. So, you know, Brandon Smith's arrived from the Sydney Roosters. You got your Tedesco's, you got your Suali'is, you know, you got your Daniel Tupous as well. You got a strong 4-pack also. The Dolphins, they've got the likes of the Bromwich brothers, Hamaso Tebow Fidel in that fullback spot, and they'll be relying on the likes of the Bromwich brothers and Felice Kafusi for the experience. Sean O'Sullivan's a player to look out for me for the Dolphins, as well as he has. Well, in the previous clubs he's played for, he's been very strong. So, look, in terms of this game, it is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The Dolphins should get a pretty handy crowd for this first clash in the NRL, their first game. But I think the Roosters would just be too classy. I think they'll have too much. I think the Dolphins could get a try early on, bring the crowd into it, but I think the Roosters will run away with the game. And for me, in terms of any-time try scorers, Joseph Suali'i, Daniel Tupou, Brandon Smith for his new club will score for the Roosters, and the Hamaso Tebow Fidel at the back to score for the Dolphins. But that is it, everyone. That's my tips for round 1 for the 2023 season for the NRL for this week's games. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who are your tips for this week's games? Comment below your tips. And if you are a new viewer to the channel, you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, because it really shows your support for the videos that I do, and it's much appreciated as well. And it really does help. It really does. So make sure you subscribe. Click that subscribe button down below if you are a new viewer and haven't done so already. And also make sure you like this video. Click the thumbs up on the video. Click the bell so you're notified when I upload next. And I'll see you all soon.